Hello, hello there, everybody. I think the lighting is terrible. Um, what should I do about the lighting? Do you think it's bad? I think it's pretty bad. Much better. Okay, well, here we are again, finally back to read the magic, from the collection, The Magic Far Away, the Enchanted book, the Enchanted Wood. Um, the all the other chapters and parts I haven't done live, but I felt like doing live because it's a bit more entertaining when you have a feeling that there's people watching you at that moment in time. Um, but yeah, I don't know how you guys feel, but I like it. I much more enjoy when doing this live. Um, I sent this link to the link to this live to a bunch of friends, so let's wait a little bit. Maybe some people will enter. If you're watching, let me know if you can see me well. I hope you can see me well. And hear me? Can you hear me? Well, 1 second. We'll be doing um about maybe we'll do um around 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, because today we're not even supposed to make a video on this channel, but here we are, right? And that's great. So we were at chapter 15 from the Magic Faraway Tree. If you haven't yet, go check out my playlist where you can listen to all my readings from The Enchanted Wood by Enid Blyton. Anyways, let's get to it. No one's here yet, and if we wait forever, we'll be if we keep waiting, we'll wait forever. So I'm talking to the people who are watching on the replay. Hello there. Let's get to it. Chapter 15. The Saucepan Man Goes to the Wrong Land. Mother and the children stared at the strange old saucepan man as he came in at the gate. He wore an extra large sized saucepan for a hat, and as he came, he knocked two pans together and sang an odd nonsense song that sounded like this: two beans for a pudding, two cherries for a pie, two legs for a table, with a he diddle high. Wait, actually, I'm sorry. Didn't we go through this chapter already? Let me go check. Sorry, I'm very sorry. Let's check this out. Pretty sure we went through this chapter before. Um, let me check. I'll be very quick. Um, I think we did. Yes. Okay. No, we did already this chapter, so it's chapter 16 that we're going to do now. Okay. Oh wait, no, we already did chapter 16. What am I talking about? We need to do chapter I think we do chapter 17, right? Oh God, I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm just gonna cut this when we get to. Let me check. Oh God, I'm getting this all wrong. Okay, we're gonna have to do this as part 8. I'm gonna have to delete the last one from this. Anyways, okay. Chapter 17. An invitation from Moonface and Silky. Nobody had really enjoyed their first visit to the rocking land, which had been a mistake. Anyhow, they sat in Moonface's house, untying their cushions from their backs and fronts, and looking at all the bruises they had got. "What shall we do with these cushions?" said Beth. "Moonface could do with them, I expect," said Franny. "He uses such a lot for his slippery slip, don't you, Moonface? He uses such a lot for his slippery slip, don't you, Moonface?" "Yes, they do very well." Oh, I'm so sorry. Wait, Moonface could do with them, I expect, said Franny. "He uses such a lot for his slippery slip, don't you, Moonface?" "What?" "Yes, they do very well," said Moonface, his big face beaming joyfully. "Some of mine are getting very old and worn. We can't possibly give them back to the cross old woman in the rocking land, so we might as well put them to some use here." "Right," said Joe, and he handed Moonface his 2 cushions. Everyone else did the same. Moonface was pleased. He poured lemonade for everyone, then handed round a little box full of what looked like all sorts of toffee. "I don't feel as if I ever want to see what land is at the top of the faraway tree again," said Joe, as he munched the peculiar piece of toffee which seemed to get bigger in his mouth instead of smaller. "Neither do I," said Beth. "I certainly never will," said Franny. "It seems as if there are never any lands that are they're worth visiting. They are all most uncomfortable." "Except my land," said Saucepan Man rather mournfully. I was always very comfortable there." Joe's toffee was now so big that he couldn't say a word. Then it suddenly exploded in his mouth, went to nothing, and left him feeling most astonished. "Oh dear, did you take a toffee shock?" said Moonface, noticing Joe's surprised face. "I'm so sorry. Take a different one." "No, thank you," said Joe, feeling that one toffee shock was quite enough. "I think we'd really better be going. It must be getting late." "What's going to happen to the old saucepan man now that he's lost his land?" asked Beth, picking up a yellow cushion ready to slide down the tree. "Oh, he'll live with Mr. What's his name," said Moonface. "Hello, he's taken he's taken Hello, he's taken a toffee shock by mistake. Oh, do watch him." They all watched. The saucepan man's toffee shock had got enormous and was about to explode. It did, and went back down to nothing again in his mouth. The saucepan man blinked his eyes and looked so astonished that everyone shouted with laughter. "That was a toffee shock you were eating," said Moonface. "A coffee clock?" said Saucepan Man, even more surprised. "Dear me!" "Come on," said Beth, giggling. "It's time we went. See you another day, Moonface. Goodbye, Saucepan Man." She shot off down the slide, round and round, and out of the trapdoor at the bottom. Then Franny slid off, and then Joe. "Goodbye," he called. "Goodbye." Mother was astonished to see their bruises. "Whatever have you been doing?" she said. "I shan't let you play with the saucepan man again if you come home like this. And how dirty your clothes are!" Joe longed to tell Mother about the rocking land and their adventure there, but he felt sure that she would think he was making it all up. So he said nothing and went off to change his dirty clothes. Check. Oh, this. Things did not go very well the next week. Father lost some money one night, and Mother could not get very much washing to do, so money was very scarce, and the children did not have as much to eat as they would have liked. If only we could have a few hens, sighed Mother. They would at least give us eggs to eat, and a little goat would give us milk. And what I want is a new garden shovel, said Father. Mine broke yesterday, and I can't get on with the garden. It's very important that we should grow as many vegetables as possible, for we can't afford to buy them. To make things worse, their father was very cross with them for having spoilt their clothes the day that they had gone off with the saucepan man. If that's the way you treat the only nice clothes you have, you will just have to stay at home and not go out at all, he scolded. The children did not like being scolded, and Beth mended their clothes as nicely as she could. 2 weeks went by, and the children had not even had 2 hours to themselves to go and see Moonface. You'll be wondering what has happened to us, said Franny. Moonface certainly was wondering. He had waited each day and each night to see the children, and he and Silky wondered what was the matter. We'll send the barn owl with a note to tell the children to come quickly, said Silky at last. So they slipped down the faraway tree to the hole where the barn owl lived. She knocked at his door, and he pecked it open. What is it? He asked in a hoarse voice. Oh, Barney dear, will you take this note to the children at that little cottage over by the wood? Asked Silky in the sweetest voice. You're going out hunting tonight, aren't you? Yes, said the barn owl, and he took the note in one of his great clawed feet. I'll take it. He slammed the door shut behind him and rose into the air on great creamy wings, as silent as the wind. He flew to the children's cottage. They were in bed asleep. Barney sat on the tree outside and screeched loudly. The children awoke with a jump. "Whatever is that?" said Beth. Joe came into the room. "Did you hear that?" he asked. "Whatever could it be?" The barn owl screeched again. He certainly had a dreadful voice. The children jumped. Joe went bravely to the window and looked out. "Is anyone being hurt?" he called. "Me!" screeched the owl again, and Joe nearly fell out of the window with fright. The barn owl spread his great soft wings and flew to Joe. He dropped the note onto the window sill, screeched again, and flew off into the night to look for mice and rats. "It was a barn owl," said Joe. "It left a note. Quick, turn on your bedside lamp and let's see what the letter says." On They turned the lamp on and crowded around the note. This is what it said. Dear Joe, Beth, and Franny, why don't you come to see us? Are you upset? Please come soon, because there is a wonderful land at the top of the tree now. It is a land of take what you want. If you want anything, you can usually get it there for nothing. Do come, and we'll all go together. Love from Moonface and Silky. "Oh," said Franny, excited, "the land of take what you want. Well, I'd like to get a few hens." "And I'd like a goat," said Beth. "And I'd like a new shovel for father," said Joe. But then he frowned. "I'd quite made up my mind not to go up to any more of those strange lands," he said. You just never know what might happen there. We'd better not go." "Oh, Joe!" cried Beth. "Please let's go. After all, if there is a nice land, we might as well visit it." "Shh! You'll wake up Mother," said Joe. "We'll see tomorrow what happens. If we can get some time to ourselves, we'll go and ask Moonface if the land is really safe to go to. Now we'd better go to bed and sleep." But they didn't sleep much, no. They were all wondering what the land of take what you want was like, and if they were really going to visit it tomorrow. One more chapter. Chapter 18. the land of take what you want. The next day was very fine. The children helped their mother to clean the whole house, and Joe proudly brought in some fine green beans and lettuces from the garden, which he had grown himself. Mother was pleased. "You can go off and play after lunch if you'd like," she said. "You have been very good today." The children looked at one another in glee. Just what they had hoped for. "Good. Come on," said Joe after lunch. We won't waste any time." "What about something to drink?" said Beth. "Shouldn't we take some lemonade with us?" "I should think we can get lemonade all right from the land of take what you want," said Joe, with a grin. So they all ran off, waving to mother as they went. They were soon in the enchanted wood, hearing the trees whispering secretly to one another. Whisha, whisha, whisha. They ran through the bushes and the trees to the faraway tree, and up they went. When they passed the window of the angry pixie, Joe peeped in just for fun, but he was sorry he did, for the angry pixie was there, and he threw a bowl of cold soup all over poor Joe. "Oh!" said Joe in dismay. He saw his shirt all splashed with soup. "You wicked pixie!" The angry pixie went off in peals of delighted laughter, and banged his window shut. Pooh! "You do smell of onions now, Joe," said Beth, wrinkling up her nose. "I hope the smell soon wears off." Joe wiped himself down with his handkerchief. He said to himself that one day he would pay the angry pixie back. "Come on," said Franny impatiently. "We'll never get there." They passed the barn owl's door, and saw him sitting inside, fast asleep. They came to Silky's little yellow door too, but she wasn't in. There was a note pinned to her door which said, "Out, back soon." "She must be with Moonface," said Joe. "Now look out for Dame Washalet's water for everyone." It was a good thing he reminded them, for not long after, the fine waterfall of soapy suds came pouring down. Franny screamed and dodged, so did Beth. Joe got some on his shirt, and he was very cross. "Never mind," said Franny with a giggle. "It'll wash off some of the onion soup, Joe." They went on up and came to Mr. What's his name's. He was as usual sitting in a deck chair, fast asleep with his mouth open, and beside him, also fast asleep, was the old saucepan man, looking most uncomfortable, draped around as usual with saucepans and kettles. Don't wake them," whispered Joe. "We'd better not stop and talk." So they crept by them, but just as they got to the next branch, the saucepan man woke up. He sniffed hard, jabbed Mr. What's-his-name. "What's the matter? What's the matter?" said his friend. Can you smell onions?" asked the saucepan man. "I distinctly smell them. Do you suppose the faraway tree is growing onions anywhere near us today? I love onion soup." Joe and the girls laughed till they cried. "It's the onion soup on your shirt that saucepan man smelt," said Beth. "My goodness, they'll spend all afternoon looking for onions growing on the faraway tree." They left the two funny old men and went climbing up, and they got nicely caught by Dame Washalot's second lot of water. She was doing a great deal of sorry. They left the two funny old men and went climbing up, and they got nicely caught by Dame Washalot's second lot of water. She was doing a great deal of washing that day, and she emptied a big wash tub down just as the three children were near underneath. Slishy, sloshy, slishy, sloshy, the water came pouring down and soaked all the children. They gasped and shook themselves like dogs. "Quick," said Joe. "We will go as fast as we can to Moonface's house and borrow some towels from him. This is dreadful." They arrived at Moonface's at last. Old Moonface and Silky rushed out to hug them. But when they saw how dripping wet the children were, they stopped in surprise. "Is it raining?" said Moonface. "Have you had a bath in your clothes?" asked the Silky. "No, it's just Dame Washalot's water as usual," said Joe crossly. "We dodged the first lot, but didn't manage to dodge the second lot. Can you lend us towels?" Moonface grinned and pulled some towels out of his curved cupboard. As the children rubbed themselves down, Moonface told them all about the land of Take What You Want. It's a marvelous land, he said. You are allowed to wander all over and take whatever you want for yourself without paying a penny. Everyone goes there if they can. Do do come and visit it with me and Silky. Is it quite safe? Asked Joe, rubbing his hair dry. Oh, yes, said Silky. The only thing is we must be careful not to stay there too long in case it leaves the faraway tree, and we can't get down. But Moonface says he will sit by the ladder and give a loud whistle if he sees any sign of the land moving. Good, said Joe. Will there be plenty of things we want? Will there- Well, there are plenty of things we want. So let's go now, shall we? They all climbed up the topmost branch of the great white cloud. The ladder led through the hole as usual to the land above. One by one they climbed it and stood in the strange country above the magic cloud. It was indeed strange. It was simply crowded with things and people. It was quite difficult to move about. Animals of all kinds wandered here and there. Sacks of all sorts of things, from gold to potatoes, stood about. Stalls of the most wonderful vegetables and fruit were everywhere, and even such things as chairs and tables were to be found waiting for anyone to take them away. Good gracious, said Joe. Can we really take anything we want? Anything, said Moonface, settling himself down by the ladder in the cloud. Look at those gnomes over there. They mean to take all the gold they can find. The children looked where Moonface was pointing. Sure enough, there were four gnomes hauling at all the sacks of gold in sight. One by one, they staggered off to the ladder with them and disappeared down the faraway tree. All other fairy folk hunted for the different things they wanted: dresses, coats, shoes, singing birds, pictures, all kinds of things. As soon as they had found what they were looking for, they rushed off to the ladder in glee and slipped down it. Moonface found it fun to watch them. The others wandered off, looking at everything in surprise. Do you want a nice fat lion, Joe? Asked Silky as a large lion wandered by and licked Silky's hands. No, thank you, said Joe at once. Well, what about the giraffe? Said Silky. I believe they make fine pets. You believe wrong then, said Beth, as a tall giraffe galloped past a giant rocking horse. Nobody in their senses would want to keep a giraffe for a pet. Oh, look! Cried Franny as she came to a shop in which stood a great many large and beautiful clocks. Do let's take a clock back home. No, thank you, said Joe. We know what we want, and we'll take that and nothing else. I think I would like a clock, said Silky, and she picked up a small clock with a very nice smiley face. It had 2 feet beneath, which wiggled hard as Silky picked up the clock. It wants to walk, said Beth, with a scream of laughter. Oh, do let it, Silky. I've never seen a clock walk before. Silky put the clock down, and it trotted beside them on its big flat feet. The children thought it was the funniest thing they had ever seen. Silky was very pleased with her new clock. It was the kind that chimed every hour on the hour, and sometimes in between too. And it had to be wound up with a key every night to keep it ticking. Just what I've always wanted, she said. I shall keep it at the back of my room. You don't suppose it will stay there, do you, Silky? Asked Beth. It'll wander around and about and poke its nose into everything you're doing. And if it doesn't like you, it'll run away. Ding dong, said the clock suddenly in a clear voice, making them all jump. It stopped walking when it chimed, but it ran after the children and Silky again at once. It was really the most extraordinary clock. Now we really must look at what we want, said Joe. Are those hens over there, Beth? Yes, they are, said Beth. Good. Come along and we'll get them. Oh, this is really lovely, a really lovely land. I am glad we came here. What fun it will be getting everything we want. I do wonder what Mother will say when we get home. And that's it. We've done 2 chapters. Let me see how long this chapter is. Maybe we'll do. Let me see. No, we'll get to this another day. Tomorrow I will read Pompey the Great again. Very interesting. I only read the first chapter, which was an extremely long chapter. It was like each page is like this three times. The page is huge. I'm serious. Um, but yeah, go check that out. I'm going to be live tomorrow to read that. The Pumping is great. Probably around the same time as today, maybe 8 o'clock or something. So, which isn't exactly the same, but around there. Oh, actually, no, I won't be. I'll be live before that maybe. And yeah. Um, Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the reading. Not many people turned out to this live, which was expected since I only did 25 minutes and um yeah, yeah. But anyways, uh I'm gonna put this into the playlist and if you haven't yet, go check out the other parts of this book which I have read and hope you enjoyed. Have a great night. Or morning or whatever it is over there when you're watching the catch up. But yeah, have a great day.